Today is baking day. So it's Sunday here, and my husband and I went out earlier and picked up some cedar wood planks because we're going to be building our raised beds this year. So more to come on that. So I just got back and haven't even had my coffee yet because I don't like to drink coffee before I go on an hour-long car ride because I will have to stop and pee and I don't want to. So drinking my coffee. So I gotta make sub rolls. I need to make homemade pizza dough because I'm gonna make some freezer pizzas so that my husband and my son can have those for lunch this week. And I'm also gonna make bagels because my family has requested breakfast sandwiches this week. And then I also want to make blueberry muffins, like mini blueberry muffins for my grandbaby. And if I'm making blueberry muffins, I might as well make chocolate chip muffins because my son likes chocolate chip muffins. So, but what I'm going to be doing right now is I have this recipe box. I have two actually. One that I started for my niece, and then this one's for my my daughter. But I haven't really added a lot of stuff to my daughter, so today I'm going to be adding to my daughter's, and I will just have to add to my niece's at a later date. So I'm going to be writing down the recipes for everything but the bagels because the bagels, it's a very lengthy recipe. It doesn't take a long time, but there's a lot of different moving parts. So I will not be writing that down today because my hands can't take it. So that's what I'm going to do now is write down the recipes, and then we're going to start to get baking. I decided that I only wrote down 2 recipes today. I did the sub rolls and the pizza dough. I hate I don't know about you guys, but I hate handwriting now because I've just been typing for so long that handwriting just hurts my hand after a while. Plus I crochet, so that's probably why too. So I did 2 recipe cards, which is better than none. So now let's get baking. So I buy my flour in bulk from the Mennonite store, and I keep them in these 5-grade buckets, 5-gallon food grade buckets. But I keep this in my cabinet for easy use. And as you can see, it's empty, so I need to fill it. So we got to do that first because I'm going to be using a lot of flour today in my baking. So I already have a video on my channel, and I'll try to link it to making the bagels. So I'm not going to do a tutorial on the bagels, but I'm going to start those first because they take the longest. So that's what I'm doing first, and then we will move on to something else. So this is the bagel. So this has got the first rest is for 20 minutes. So we're going to put that to rest for 20 minutes. And now we're going to start on the sub roll. I do have a recipe on my YouTube channel for the sub rolls. So again, I won't be doing a tutorial on that. But basically it starts off the same as the bagels. 2 cups of warm water, your sugar, and your yeast. And you let that proof for 5 minutes. And then we can start the recipe. So I'm going to be doing that, and you can follow along. This recipe calls for melted butter, so I'm going to melt my butter. And Yes, I still do use a microwave. I know some people don't, and I know it's bad for you, but I do it. I just haven't gotten to that point yet in my life. Back to making sub rolls. So my, what is this called? My yeast is proofed. So now we're gonna add the melted butter. And the salt. We're gonna mix that up. Once that's mixed, you just add the flour and then shape and rise and bake and all that good stuff. This is how you can get multiple baking done in the same day. So my bagels are rising. They have to rise for 20 minutes to start. So while they're rising, I'm starting on the sub rolls, because the sub rolls, they're gonna have to rise. Can't remember, I have to look it up. They rise for 40 minutes. So while these are rising, I could be finishing up the bagels. And then while the bagels have to do a second rise, they have a second rise, I could be making the pizza dough. So there's just, and I'm using all the same bowl because it's basically all the same ingredients, just in different forms. So I basically only use flour, sugar, salt, and water. And except this one had melted butter in it, but so that's why I can get multiple things done in one day and not spend my whole life in the kitchen. For the sub rolls, they say the dough's ready when you can break off a little piece and roll it into a ball until it's transparent. Now see, this is too sticky. This is not done at all. So we need to add, see how it's sticking to my fingers? We need to add more flour. So now I took another piece out and it's not sticking to my fingers at all. We're gonna roll it into a ball, and then what they want you to do is pull it apart so you can almost see through it but not break it. Oh, I broke it. But I think that's because I pulled it too hard. Let's try that. Watch the dough's messed up, and you shouldn't be watching my videos. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just lightly. I think I might have pulled it too hard last time. But yeah, it's you put it up to the light, you can see through it. You can see through it. See. So this is ready. Now my bagel dough is ready, and I'm just gonna switch it out. I don't have enough counter space. You want to put a little flour down. So we'll take the bagel dough out, put that on the table, spray this a little bit more, and then the sub rolls need to rise for 40 minutes. So next we're going to shape the bagels. There's plenty of videos out there of how you want to shape your bagels. And I'll show you how I do mine, but I'm going to get out my scale because I have a hard time measuring how big things should be. So I'm going to get out my scale and measure this to see how big I need to make the bagels. All right, so let's weigh this dough and see how much it is. Try to get it all on. Okay. It's 39.61 ounces. So I want to do about 8 bagels, so they're going to be roughly around 4.95 ounces per bagel. So I don't cut mine or anything. I kind of just rip a piece off, put it on the scale, and see if I need to add any or take any away. It's not 4.90. Okay, so the dough on the inside is a little sticky, so I'm going to add some flour to my hands. So what I like to do is I kind of roll them into like a ball like this. Roll them into a ball. And then I poke my thumb through the middle of it to do a hole like this. And then I kind of do this. You can do this. But anyway, that's how I shape my bagels. And then you're going to put them on a greased parchment paper. So for the boiling process for the bagels, I like to get my water started during the second rise of the bagels because they have to rise for 20 minutes. I have an electric stove and sometimes it takes a while for the water to boil. So before I start my pizza rolls, my pizza dough, I'm going to put a pot of water on the stove. And I like to add a little bit of honey to mine because that just adds a little bit of sweetness to the bagels. So I just add like a half a teaspoon. Here's another tip when you're making bagels. Preheat the oven and then put an oven safe pan in there. I usually put my cast iron in there and let it heat up with your oven. So I just put the bottom rack in the oven and I let it heat up. And then when I go to put the bagels in, I throw some ice cubes in there and it creates steam and it helps to create that layer of that outside layer of the bagel. Next step in the process of making bagels is to boil your bagels. So I have the water boiling with the honey, throw them in upside down. I do like 10 seconds per side. You can use a bigger pot and do more at a time if you want to, but I only have 8 bagels, so I'm not going to dirty up a big pot just for that. So I do 10 seconds on one side and then I flip it and do 10 seconds on the other side. And then I take it out, put it back on the greased parchment paper. The next one, and then I do that for all 8 bagels. Now we have to glaze the bagels. Sometimes I use egg whites, egg yolks. You can use just water. I'm gonna use olive oil today just because I'm trying to get things done quickly. So you just spray down the bagels. After they're boiled, obviously. And then my family really likes cheddar bagels, so I just shred up some cheddar and I put them on the bagels generously, obviously, but use as much as you want. I used to make some plain, and then I made some with cinnamon and sugar, and the family was like, we need more cheddar ones. So I don't even bother making any other kind but cheddar ones at this point. Okay, so now we're gonna put the bagels in a 400-degree oven for about, it says 20 to 40 minutes. I usually check them after 25, and sometimes they're done, sometimes they're not, but I've never gone the whole 40. So it's usually 25, 30 minutes. So this is where I was telling you that I put the pan in there and the ice. So I put my bagels in. Don't judge my oven. I need to watch it. I haven't gotten around to it. But anyway. So we put those in there. And then on the bottom is the pan that's been heating. And I'm just going to throw in my ice cubes. And that's going to create steam. I'm going to shut it, and I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. Cleaning up is very important. I like to clean up as I go because I'm not trying to clean up all this stuff at the end. So I just, before I start my next little project here, I'm going to clean up because I shredded some cheese and I have cheese everywhere. So you wait till you're all done. You have a sink full of dishes and it's just a pain in the butt. So I don't do that. Okay. So the bagels are in the oven. The sub rolls are done rising, but I wanted to mix up this pizza dough real quick while we had a minute. So right now I have warm water and yeast in here. I saw lettuce set for 5 minutes, so now I need to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. Okay. 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to put on the mixer. And so to this I have, just so we're clear, 1 1/4 cup of warm water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and now I'm going to add 3 1/2 cups of flour. And a half. And I'll put that on low. So my pizza dough is done. And how you know pizza dough is done is when you poke it, it springs back. So see how it's springing back? That's how that's done. Now this needs to rise for 40 to 60 minutes. No, 30 to 60 minutes. So I'm just going to put it back in this bowl and we're going to put it in the microwave. Now, the microwave I just put in there because that's where, so the dogs don't get it and it's, you know, it's safe. But the sub dough's been in here. Wait till you see it. It is, I think I left it in here too long. Look at it. But anyway, there's that. That goes in here. So, the sub rolls, now I need to shape them. So I'm going to shape them. For the sub rolls, you need to, it says well oil your pans, and I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this on my pizza stones, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then put a little bit of cornmeal on it. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And then we're going to shape them and put them on here. It's about 53. And I want to make like 8 of these maybe. So I think I'm just going to do 8 and they're going to be around 6.6 ounces each. So I'm just going to start weighing these again. That's way too much. And how I'm going to do these is I'm going to stretch them out like this. And then, let me push you down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to roll them. Pinch the ends. So they're kind of like this, like a little log. And I'm going to put them on there. They're not like sub rolls. This recipe is for sub rolls, but I'm doing more like sandwich rolls, like longer sandwich rolls. Okay, so they're all shaped. So now I need an egg white. And what we're gonna do, take you over here, So we're gonna slash each one of these with a knife, just like a couple spots. Okay, now we're gonna put the egg whites over each one of these sub rolls. Just wipe it on there, make sure it's covered, the whole top is covered. Okay, the rolls are in the oven, and now we're gonna start on the blueberry muffins. So we're gonna put the softened butter and the sugar in a bowl, and we're gonna mix it up. And then in a separate bowl, we're gonna add the dry ingredients, and then we're gonna add them all together later. All the recipes will be at the end, so I'm not really, this isn't really a tutorial, it's kind of just what I'm baking in a day kind of thing. So let's start on that. So once all your muffin ingredients are mixed in, you want to leave your blueberries for last because you're going to take it off the mixer and add 2 cups of blueberries, but you don't want to use the mixer because then they get smushed and all yucky. So you want 2 cups of blueberries put in by hand. You kind of just want to fold them in because you don't want to smush them. Like I said, you don't want smushy, yucky blueberries all in there. So you got to be gentle. So these will go in the oven at 350 for 10 to 13 minutes. So the blueberry muffins are still in the oven. I'm waiting to put the chocolate chip ones in, and then I will be done. And then it'll probably be time to cook dinner. But I've made a bunch of stuff for my family for the week, and I don't have to worry about it later on. So once everything's done, I will come back on and show you everything that was made. So these are the mini blueberries. They look pretty good. I'm hoping my grandbaby likes them. Alright, I'm sorry my dishwasher's on, but I'm done. And I just wanted to show you everything that I made, minus the 2 pizza doughs that I made. Those are in the fridge. But other than that, this is what I made. I have mini blueberry muffins, and I had some dough left over, so I made 4 big ones. We have the cheddar cheese bagels. I made 8 of those. Over there is the sandwich rolls. They're a little big. I'm not sure how I feel about them. I think I probably should have made them a little skinnier, but whatever. 8 of those, and then I have some chocolate chip muffins that are still cooling. And that's everything I made today to feed my family for the week for baked goods anyway.